Would you believe I forgot what button to push there for?
I was wondering if you were in vapor lock,
I
and
was
you're
in
like,
vapor lock there.
"Where do you want to go? The second one or the first one?" I was
Yeah.
not sure what was
I
happening.
don't know anymore.
I don't know either.
Because it's Monday and it's 8 o'clock, and when it's Monday 8 o'clock, I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
You want to go night-night?
Oh, I'm going night-night. Hi, Peter.
He's watching us on
YouTube. Very cool.
Woo.
That's new. I like that. That's awesome sauce. Good to see everybody. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. Today was absolutely picture perfect weather-wise here in Western New York. Ra-cha-cha, as it were. And so that's that. And that's all we were going to talk about at the moment. So you guys have a great week. We'll see you next week. And then
don't do that to Peter. He has been on pins and needles
patient.
for weeks.
He's been patient.
Yes.
And we appreciate patience. There's few people who actually express it with us anymore. As a matter of fact, there's the scammers that keep dropping messages in our. We're going to be discontinued. We're shutting down your Facebook because of violations. Even though
copyright or whatever.
Even though you're not Facebook associated, go away.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
How you doing, Andrew? Good to see you.
Ridiculous.
Peter, take us away. What did you think of season 1, series 1 of Ncuti Gatwa there? And you tell us what you thought, and we'll go from there. So we're gonna wait on the comment section while Peter puts his 2 cents in.
Yeah, it's definitely Doctor Who. Look, I dressed
She even put a Doctor Who t-shirt on.
Dressed for the occasion.
Hello.
Now, granted, it's not the correct doctor, but he was.
You don't have any current merch yet.
No.
Do you have any Jodie stuff? You have the Jodie jacket.
And I have a Jodie shirt.
You have a Jodie shirt and a Jodie jacket.
The jacket and the Jodie sonic screwdriver that I found in my pocket.
Andy's here, last day of vacation. Chris Ling Loch Ness is on board. Hello.
Is day 3 of my vacation.
Peter says the beginning was rough, but the end was great. Now, what made the beginning rough for you? I mean, Tanya and I were talking about Space Babies, the first full episode, and it was a lot. There was a lot going on. It was a little chaotic. So you tell us your thoughts on that, and while we're waiting, the Christmas special I thought had a very interesting musical flow to it, which I thought was really cool. And so I was kind of expecting a little bit more of that. And then Space Babies just was trying to do, it felt like I was trying to do a 2-hour episode in a 1-hour format.
Yeah, I mean, because it was like rush, and then it's like build up, then rush to get to that denouement, and then
there were some interesting beats to the story. Right, so it wasn't a terrible story. I felt it was a little more chaotic than I would have liked it to be.
But it's like, are you my mummy?
I thought the season was interesting, but a little disappointing. Chris, what made it disappointing? Stories weren't that great. Dot and Bubble, for example. Well, what was your problem with Dot and Bubble? Because I think, and this is for me as an up and coming satirist. Dot and Bubble had a great message to it. I think if you were paying attention to the context rather than the details, you would have seen this other thing going on. And then the payoff was the very end of Dot and Bubble, where the doctor's been fighting racism all of his life, but to see it firsthand, that's when experience it when you realized what was going on at the last, just seeing that, I think, was a very interesting kind of flow through the whole story.
Yeah, the subtle racism that was in there. It wasn't necessarily
Hello, Sean Stocking. Good to see you too.
In your face type thing. But if you weren't really paying attention to that it would like totally bypass you, because Tyler never picked it up when I said, watch watch the episode and watch the screen. Just watch the screen. And he's like just couldn't and that it felt commentary on racism and on toxic fandom.
I think it's an excellent commentary.
And I think the toxicity of classism.
Yes.
Like definitely like a caste
system. Where the rich, this is what happens.
The rich only had to work 2 hours a day, and then they could play for the rest of the time.
Yeah, and we party.
And we party, and we do this, and we do that. And I'm just like...
I mean, she was so over the top, vapid, and self-absorbed. So it was making its own statement. But just watching how the story evolved, and when you realize that Lindy
is the ultimate Doctor Who villain of the entire first season there. Because when she threw that poor kid under the bus, that was like, holy crap. Oh, by the way,
November.
We're going to be talking about spoilers tonight, whether you like it or not.
Had plenty of time.
Seriously. And John, finally, we're talking about Doctor Who. I'm not going to talk about a whole season when the whole season has been broadcast. Shame on you, John. You know that. Come on. Dot and Bubble felt the comment. Yeah, racism, toxic fandom. Chris is saying, I really like Ruby and I'm sad how they ended her story. Why? I'd like to know why. I have my own thoughts on that. I understand why. I think that your take could be that Ruby's the end of her story was disappointing, but I like the message that was behind it. But I want to hear your thoughts on that as well. Hello, FC3 folks. Hello, Sticks Boy. So I want to hear Chris's thoughts on that.
And me personally, I'm glad that she was actually able to find information about her mother and then actually find her mother, coming from somebody that is
you were able
adopted.
To resonate with, yes, you were able to resonate with that.
I could resonate with it. I mean, granted, yes, I found my birth mother's name in some family, but I never got to meet her because she passed away back in, I think,
you were 25.
1997.
So,
she was buried on my birthday, which I thought was kind of ironic.
But Chris, here's the thing. Was it really nothing? Because, I mean, Matt Smith's 11th Doctor had it best. In 900 years of time and space, I'd never met anybody who wasn't important. That's always been kind of a Doctor Who theme, that even ordinary people are important. And I think that's we're missing that. We wanted her to be some sort of mystical kind of like all being thing. I got the usual since the very first season of Christopher Eccleston, people have been like, oh, that she's got to be the Ronnie, or she's got to be Romana, or she's got to be this, she's got to be that. And we're just missing the idea that, just ordinary people like us, we're ordinary, even though we do extraordinary things from one time, we're important still. And so I think maybe they boosted it up too high, but boosting it up to show you the importance of the everyday is still a good message to go through. If you will entertain my counter to what you're saying there. I thought the 4th Doctor killed Sutekh. He did not. Pyramids of Mars. It was established that he had locked him away in that time tunnel, but had not killed him. Yeah, that time vortex, but had not killed him. Ruby's mom wasn't special, but Ruby was. Ruby was because she was able to absorb everything she did and make it something. Chris, you are far from ordinary. I am not far from ordinary. I'm just somebody who doesn't know how to shut his goddamn mouth from time to time. That's the only special thing I've got. So, but I appreciate the sentiment nonetheless, Andy.
No, it was that Susan twist.
Yeah, the Susan twist.
Kept coming up.
I think
up through it. I'm like,
the entire thing though is lacing all of these subplots and subtexts, whatnot. That's a Russell T Davies signature weapon, is what he does. And I think what he was trying to do was thumb his nose at everybody who had tried to put so much stuff into everything they were doing. Josh Lopez is here. Hello, Josh Lopez. Good morning to you too, young man. I love him. I miss him. I think a lot of this was RTD's like, guys, you have blown this. If I may try to dive into the mind of Russell T Davies, which is not 100%. Yeah, it's good luck with that. I will pat myself on the shoulder for coming nowhere near what he's probably thinking. But, I think what he's trying to do is he is taking the time to thumb his nose at the people who became the toxic fans and really ruined everybody else's appreciation of Jodie Whittaker's 13th or 12th doctor, 13th doctor, 13th.
12 was Capaldi.
Yes, 12 was Capaldi, my favorite. And so he was leading you in and then kind of like forcing you to look at how you were behaving, essentially. Especially Dot and Bubble is the classic example of that. He's grabbing you, he's putting you in the seat, and he's saying, look at what you're doing. Look at who you are right now. Look at what you did. And no, you weren't being racist against an African American or an African Scottish actor in this case. But the way you harangued Jodie Whittaker, I think, is what he's rubbing people's nose in right now. I kind of understand that. It was just hyper buildup that kind of ruined it for me. But some of the stories were really fun. I just wish there was a little bit more Ruby. 73 Yards was one of my favorites. That was a great. I think 73 yards was classic Doctor Who.
Didn't I call it? I
Yeah.
go, that's her.
Yeah.
That's her from like old or whatever.
Yeah. The older Ruby.
The older Ruby, but we didn't know that until the end. But I'm like, oh, I got it.
I got my arm beat for that one. Currently getting my art ready for you, sexy beast. Yes, Joshua, I cannot wait to see what you've got this year, buddy. But I think what's great about it is that when you see stories like 73 yards and you see, you know, the Legend of Ruby Sunday, and you see all these stories knitting together, you definitely feel that RTD is back. You know, Russell T Davies is back, and Ncuti Gatwa has some amazing. I want to know what you guys thought of Ncuti himself. You know, the 15th Doctor. What are your thoughts on that character? You had some interesting insights. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, he's got this aura of I don't have any fucks to give.
Yeah,
that he is just having the time of his life.
But all the other doctors are still in there. Case in point, when they did the Bridgerton, you know, send up.
Oh yeah,
And when he thought that Ruby had been killed, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm a man." When he said when he asked how long the lifespan was, and Rogue said 600 years, and just to see how cold he delivered, good, plenty of time for them to suffer. Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
know.
There's 9, 10, and 12 right there on the spot.
I was going to say, because
Christmas.
I'm like, I think the Doctor's supposed to be like that vindictive or whatever, and things like that, or have that hard edge.
Oh, you hadn't been paying attention to the past few years, have you?
Never.
I mean, especially 10 in Family of Blood, when he finally decided I had enough at the end of the episode.
I'm rewatching Doctor Who, so I'm starting to get a little bit of it. Like I'm 4 episodes into Christopher Eccleston. Well, 3 and
we're starting over again.
3 and a quarter, something, because we stopped on the 4th one.
Peter liked them.
But to see that he had no qualms about Cassandra going poof, type thing,
right?
Or I'm just like,
yeah.
This is. You're still stop and think for a second.
Watch it. Even in you can put your feet up there. Just make sure you're not shaking the camera all over the place. These people don't want to get seasick watching us.
Oh, it's kind of like me as I kick the desk.
Yes, as you do it again.
Watching you play 7 Days to Die.
Yeah, there's that. But to see 15 channel his inner 9, 10, and 12. I mean, you get the vibe that he's healed from 14, right? So because he was saying 14 is going to do the rehab, the therapy, and feel better, and it's going to pass that on to 15 somehow. We're not sure, but that's all timey-wimey stuff. We needed more of Jodie Whittaker, Peter says. I agree with you. I would have liked to have seen Jodie written by Moffat and Davies. That's Chibnall came in with a vision. His vision did not mesh with what we wanted. It fell flat. I think he was too preachy. He gave Jodie some work that, she did the best she could with it. I am eternally pissed off at the bulk of the fandom of Doctor Who for berating her so hard, because you're not taking into account this wonderful human being who is an incredible actress, who did a great job with the material that was given to her. I would have loved to have seen 13 under the auspices of another writer.
So it's like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill saying, George, you can write this stuff,
but we can't say it. Yeah, absolutely.
That they've got the storyline that they want to show, but sometimes the words kind of get in the way of what they want.
Yeah, and that's writing's fault, Chris. Absolutely. I agree with you. And there were some really good 13th Doctor stories that were out there. I think what happened is just the writing was just a little too weak on that. Now, Peter, let's see. Jason says Jodie and Moffat would have been an awesome combination. I agree with you on that one. John points out, let not forget, 11 and a good man goes to war threatening people who kidnapped Amy. Yep, that was definitely a good speech. Peter goes on to say all the actors that have played Doctor Who need to play it for longer than 2 seasons or 3 seasons. Here's the thing is 3 seasons has always been kind of the benchmark. In classic Who, William Hartnell did 3 seasons. Of course, he couldn't do really a 4th because his health was starting to fail and they didn't know what they were going to do. And they created Regeneration to kind of slip Patrick Troughton in to hopefully keep this popular series going. And thank God it worked, right? Because Patrick Troughton came in, took over, showed you how the series can keep going. and he stayed for 3 and then was out. John Pertwee stayed for 3, almost 4, and then was out. Actually, yes, he stayed for 4 because he was there for the 10th anniversary. So it was 3, 3, 4. And then Tom Baker set the standard for what we would all want to see at 7. But Peter Davison restored. Yeah, Tom Baker was there for 7 years as the 4th Doctor. A record that I don't think will ever get broken. And then Peter Davison came in for 3. Colin Baker would have probably gone for a while, but Michael Grade was a jerk, and we will stop there. And then Sylvester McCoy came in. He was able to do 2.5, 3. But then again, the BBC turned around and canceled Doctor Who. I would like to have seen Sylvester McCoy go a little bit further along because he was fantastic as well. The original had to exit because of cancer. Actually, I thought it was multiple sclerosis complications. But are you sure on Pertwee for 5? I don't think that's right. John?
Yeah.
John and I know about the same. It's Elizabeth that I wouldn't argue with. I can't argue with Elizabeth Weiss, but I can debate with John.
Okay.
Notice,
I was gonna say I'm like.
Yeah. I didn't think Hartnell had cancer. I thought it was multiple sclerosis, but we can debate that another day. That's not as important in the overall. But then, you had Christopher Eccleston come in for the 1 and out. But then David did his 3. Matt did his 3. Peter did his 3. Jodie managed to get 3 in. So, yeah, I mean, I would like to see a Doctor hang around for a little bit more than 3, but it's kind of a benchmark at this point. It's one of those traditions at this stage.
The power of 3.
Yeah. Chris says, I got to watch some original Doctor Who. I've never watched it yet. If you're going to, brace yourself because the BBC budget, it's campy, it's silly, but the stories are so good and the characters are so interesting. And then I watch it because of the Doctor. The special effects are horrifying, but
I think that's what turned me off was
the stories are very good if you know how to pay attention to them. That's the thing. I like how they incorporate older shows in the new shows. Yeah. Chris, I'm going to recommend that if you do want to go back and watch classic, I would have you start with a couple of 4th Doctor episodes, Pyramid of Mars, for all the proper reasons of what we just experienced with Ncuti. Also, the Tailings of Wayne Chiang is a personal favorite of 4th Doctor. There's somebody who's trying to get their engine going over there.
Get your engine going.
For John Pertwee, Inferno, Carnival of Monsters comes to mind. The 3 Doctors was a great kind of like tip of the hat fan service episode. And then what was his
I wouldn't know.
His final episode, something about spiders.
Oh,
I can't remember.
Are you sure you watched that one?
I watched it several times. I like the series, or I like that one. For Second Doctor, First and Second Doctor is going to be challenging because a lot of those episodes are missing. But watch Unearthly Child, just so you can see how the whole thing started. Watch The Daleks, which is the very next episode after that. And you can see how things really kind of started. 10th Planet is relatively intact. That's the First Doctor's last series. The War Games is the Second Doctor's final. There's Planet of Spiders. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Old man brain. I'm a grandfather now, and my brain is just going like, oh, you're old. You're done. So, there's just so much good stuff mixed in with why. The City of Death, for instance, is the 4th Doctor serial, which they got to film on location in Paris. A lot of it, basically half of the City of Death is watching Tom Baker walk through the streets of Paris with this jaunty little synthesizer music in the background. It's terrible. Don't watch it. It's one of those things. Peter Davison had some great episodes, absolutely fantastic episodes. The Visitation, Kinda, Caves of Androzani, his last was a tour de force. He was in 5 Doctors, obviously. Colin Baker got screwed with writing. Colin Baker was the Jodie Whittaker of the original series, in my opinion, because Colin Baker is a fantastic actor, and having met him now twice, once at FC3, I can tell you without a doubt that Colin Baker is just a classic human being, just an absolutely wonderful human being. So this man got screwed by bad writing because the BBC had already had it out for the show and was trying to get it killed. And so there's some 6th Doctor stories that are all right, and some that are just like, what the hell? So that's a thing. And 7th Doctor, the 7th Doctor was kind of goofy at first, but there was a lot of really good. They were starting to kind of bring the strings together, and there was this really cool arc forming. And then the BBC canceled the show, and so that was that was rough because I thought Sylvester McCoy was doing a great job as the Seventh Doctor. But anyway, that's my tour of the classic series. I need more talisman in my life. No, I don't. Yes, I do.
Jason says he needs.
Oh, Jason needs more talisman. No, he said, look, needs more talisman in your life, Chris.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah, I'll play any night. That's fine. I understand.
But you have to have at least 4 or 5 hours.
What was the best season?
Yes.
That is an excellent question. What is the best single season of Doctor Who? That's a great question, and I don't have an answer for you at the moment. And yes, John, Mark of the Ronnie is an excellent Colin Baker episode. Best season ever.
I wouldn't be able to.
David Tennant's final season, his regular season before all of the specials. Of them all, I think that's my favorite because there was this arc, there was this vibe that was leading up to that huge reveal of the Dalek master plan. If you mind me throwing back to a title of a first Doctor series, but that 2 episode of the Stolen Earth and I think Journey. I don't remember if Journey's End or not, but anyway. But it led up to, I think, what is my favorite Doctor Who moment of all time, of all 60 years of the show. My favorite Doctor Who moment of all time is the tail end. He beats Davros, he beats the Daleks, they send all the planets back to where they're going, and it's the Doctor and all of his friends and the Meta Doctor, and everybody's in the TARDIS Council room, and they're all working together to fly the TARDIS with that soaring music in the background. And it's just this moment of pure, undiluted joy. And I think I get misty thinking about it. There are other reasons in the background. I will not talk about it in public because it'll make me cry. But it's just one of my absolute favorite moments of all of Doctor Who. And Chris, like the first season of the 12th Doctor, I thought that was a fantastic. It's so hard to say this one season is my favorite because it feels like I'm putting shade on the rest, but I love the show so much. In your opinion, what is the best Doctor Who episode of them all? Blink.
Oh.
Blink.
That was scary.
Yeah.
That was really scary.
I think it touches on so many different things. It's Dr. Light, so it's all on Carey Milligan's shoulders playing Sally Sparrow. And the interaction between her and the DVD copy of the Doctor and stuff like that, I thought was just a fantastic episode. Now, there are several amazing episodes of Doctor Who, but I will always go Blink.
Now, is Blink one of the ones with the Weeping Angels or no?
Yes, that was the first one with the Weeping Angels.
Okay.
So Jason says my favorite was with River's song and Capaldi at the Singing Towers. Oh my God, that was beautiful. That was such an amazing moment. And when she goes, well, if this is our last night together, how long does a night on Beryllium last? And he goes, 24 years. And she's just like, oh, I hate you. No, you don't. It's that perfect and Capaldi was the absolute best of letting you see the old Doctor hiding behind the face of the current. Nobody else has really ever given me the vibe of all the personality. I mean, they've kind of taken a moment to channel somebody or make a comment or a throwback, like when David Tennant did the "Are you my mummy" to the unit general there. But Capaldi, like in his first speech to Clara, in his very first episode, when he's doing the whole "you just see me" thing, I could almost see Matt Smith standing there talking to Clara. It was not Capaldi's 12th Doctor, it was Matt Smith's 11th, hiding in the face of the 12th, talking to her. Capaldi is just such a god-level actor to be able to do that. And on several occasions, he was able to channel the people before him. And you were convinced you were looking at that previous incarnation. He was spectacular at it.
DVDs have scenes not come from the streaming services. Oh, good. I have DVDs of
yes
the first couple
yes.
of Eccleston.
My Amazon wish list is chock full of Doctor Who DVDs, and I'm planning on starting to make good on those.
I did like Vincent.
Deanna pointed out Vincent the Doctor. Absolutely spectacular episode. Spectacular.
Yes. Capaldi was destined to be a doctor.
Yes, he was.
Especially in the Pompeii episode.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, the fires of Pompeii, where he makes his, and it was so funny here Capaldi talking about it. He's loved the show since the beginning. He's watched the show since Unearthly Child, and so for him to be able to play that resident of Pompeii in this, and that was like as close as he felt he was ever going to get to the part.
See the background. He was the
president of the fan club. Yep. So, and his picture, with Elizabeth Sladen at a convention getting her autograph. I'm like, oh, come on, that's amazing. Yeah, Capaldi is just, you know what? And it's so hard for a guy who's loved Tom Baker as much as I have since I first saw him back in the 70s. But Capaldi is my favorite doctor of them all, and probably will be for a very long time to come, with Tom being a very hot on his heels second place.
Well, we were watching...
With David, too, by the way.
We were watching the episode of Christopher Eccleston where it was the Charles Dickens episode.
And that was fun.
It was fun. And I'm like, watching. I'm like, if I didn't know better, that's how I phrased it to Chris the other night. If I didn't know better, I would say that is Eve Miles. He goes, it is.
It is Eve Miles.
Like,
that was such a funny moment for me. I'm like, that is Eve Miles.
It's Gwyneth. I'm like, and it was a made reference to Gwen about Gwyneth in Torchwood and how Cardiff is, and because they were in Cardiff and whatever,
they were standing in the Torchwood hub 140 years earlier.
Right. And I'm like, oh, and then like a preview of another episode, I'm like, that's not Tosh.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, it is the actress for Tosh, but I don't know if it is Tosh.
That's
type
the thing.
Because it was more recent. But I'm like, but remember, Melanie says they only have about 5 actors
in England
that they have to,
and they recycle
them all. But
Doctor Who and Star Trek have both been very good about recycling faces over the years. Like Mark Leonard, for instance, played so many different characters throughout his lifetime. He played obviously the Vulcan Sarek, but he also played the Romulan commander. He played a Klingon commander in the motion picture. He's played several characters just in Star Trek alone, and that happens a lot. And you're going to see the same thing in Doctor Who. For instance, there's 2 doctors who have played characters before they were Doctor. Now, we just talked about Peter Capaldi, Fires of Pompeii, and being 12. Who was the other one? You've met him face to face.
Colin Baker?
Yep. Colin Baker played a captain of the Gallifreyan Guard who arrested the 5th Doctor and was supposed to, and on the behest of the Lord President, was taking the 5th Doctor to an execution chamber.
Oh.
And eventually became the Doctor of the very next one. So I thought that was kind of cool to see that in action. But let's circle back around to our original topic. We were talking about season 1 of Disney Doctor.
Disney Doctor.
Ncuti Gatwa.
Does that make him?
He's not a Disney
princess.
Princess, no.
Not
He
yet.
probably would be okay with that, though.
Probably.
Taboo.
I know. I want to say the one that was not a favorite or a fan one was the one with Maestro.
Oh, the Devil's Note.
Yes, I'm just.
You were not a fan of the Maestro?
No, not that. I wasn't. I wasn't a fan of like the music notes, showing. It went back to that campy feel.
Well,
that I'm just like.
They were trying to, and our RTV will talk about this. He was trying to show a shift for the time being, and this may have been resolved with dealing with Sutek at this moment in time. But he was trying to take the hard sci-fi and move it into a little bit of a supernatural bent. Something had happened and a gate was opened up to the gods of the Doctor Who universe, rather than just dealing with the Daleks and the Cybermen and the Master and this and that, and all the old favorites and all the, I have to divvy up, I have to come up with some sort, I have to MacGyver something up and, do this technobabble and boom, I win the day. This was an entirely different level of storytelling. Jason says the Maestro episode was a cool, Yeah.
I mean, the storyline was cool. I think just some of those special effects.
And can I say, is the BBC obligated that if they're going to put the Beatles in a caricature in a TV show, that they have to be the worst actors possible to play the parts? Like, they didn't look like the Beatles at all. I mean, the John Lennon was all right, but the Paul was just like, wait.
Well, maybe
and George and Ringo were like, what the hell?
Because it was a different universe or a different thing.
No, it was our universe.
Well, but like music was taken out, and
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah, the maestro was connected to the toy maker, was connected to a couple of other, of the gods of the Doctor Who universe. And I love how they color all of the quote unquote god level characters as not nice. They're villains. I thought that was a nice little kind of subtle satire of the world. Wonderful callback to Pyramids of Mars and Devil's Court. Yep. Yeah. Well, most of the season was kind of a callback to Pyramids of Mars. Now that we see it in retrospect, now that we know the Sutekh was behind it, so I see that going forward. Let's see what else we got here. That's it. Looks like everybody's kind of
dive into the Rogues Gallery.
We've talked about classic Doctor Who. We've talked about New Who. So we're all on board. We're liking 15 so far. And Ncuti Gatwa, we want to see him stick around for a little bit. Yes, no. Put your votes into the comment section.
As I said, I love the aura that he's giving off.
Yeah.
Or they're giving off. I don't know the correct pronouns now.
He had a great line. Sorry for interrupting. I'm going to let you get back to that for a minute. But he had a great comment to Kate when she was talking about the idea of him having a granddaughter, and they were having this discussion at unit headquarters. And she's like, you've never talked about any of this stuff, and he goes, the gray enigma, he talks about how he was back when he was younger. And he goes, I'm trying to shake it. And it's so interesting to see the Doctor finally being that level of self-aware, and previous Doctors have made kind of offhand references to previous incarnations, but it's the first time that he's made kind of that self-aware comment about it. And I thought that was a very interesting thing to occur. Keep going. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, well, it's like he just has that aura, like that personality that you want to like him.
Yeah.
Like you hit in the Bridgerton episodes, like ooh, type thing.
Yeah.
But you're like he just gives off this aura of funness.
And can we talk about John Goff as Rogue in the Bridgerton episode? Tony Award-winning John Goff from Broadway, the man who created the George III character for Hamilton, among several other credits. I just thought it was great to see him in that part. I thought that part was dynamic and entertaining. I thought it was a great chemistry that they had together, Ncuti and John together. Okay, the way RTD is inferred, he's looking to entice younger viewers is okay, but he seems to think that it has to be at the expense of longtime fans, and that's an issue. I like Ncuti overall and will watch again, but worry about the frying pan method of making cultural statements. It lacks subtlety. All right, Will. No, I see what you're saying. I don't 100% agree, but I can understand where you're coming with that one. I respect that opinion.
And we don't have to agree.
Well, and that's cool. But no, I see he's making a valid point. And so I think, Will, what we're going to need to do then is see how the second season plays out. Now that he's gotten this first season, will he go looking for Rogue? Will he be more of a sci-fi kind of a bent to it again? Will there be more of a classic, Doctor Who villain? Will you see the Cybermen come back? Will you see the Daleks return? Will you see, during Ncuti Gatwa's tenure, will you see an incarnation of the Master pop back up? How will we handle traditional? Now that we've kind of slammed open the gate to all these new possibilities for storytelling in this particular genre, what will happen next? Now, Will, I think the counter to that is I would hope that he would not revert all the way back. This barn door is now wide open. I don't want to see him close it just for the sake of, lack of better, forgive me for saying it this way, for lack of tradition, as it were. But, I would like to see the flavor of, yes, and, both aspects coming. Right? You understand what I'm saying? I hope, Will, do you understand where I'm going with that idea
Absolutely,
as well?
Absolutely.
Don't close any doors.
Yeah, Peter wants to know, why do they refer this as season 1?
That was a Disney thing.
Oh, because it's a Disney now one?
Well, see, Doctor Who is not officially a Disney property, but Disney did have a little bit of influence in how things set up. And so from what I'm being told basically told is that essentially the series, it was a soft reboot of the whole series, which every regeneration is typically a soft reboot of the Doctor Who series. And so what they wanted to do is celebrate this new era with a new Doctor and a new benefactor in terms of Disney. And so that's kind of why it became season 1, even though it's, let's see, there was 27
season 47 million
40. So it would be technically season 41. from, if you go all the way back to the beginning. So they kind of like just wanted to say, you know what, let's start fresh. And part of it was part of the reasoning also was the whole Disney influence was to bring new viewers in, right? So you've got a whole new audience that's going to be coming to the show for the first time, and you don't want to scare them away by saying, "Oh, this is season 41. Look at all you have to go back and start over again. Look at all you're behind. You're going to have to catch up now." No, they didn't want to They didn't want to scare people away. They wanted to invite people in. So hence, Ncuti Gatwa, the 15th Doctor, season 1.
Andy's funny. The Master's back, and it looks like a mouse.
Doubt it. The mouse is not evil. Sometimes twisted, but not evil. So I don't know. We've been at this for over half an hour. Look at that. How about any last licks? Any last questions? And we're going to move on.
Make sure if you haven't, go back and start rewatching at Christopher Eccleston, so you have Captain Jack fresh in your mind for September type thing. And that's But I'm like, we can ask him if Captain Jack's going to show up at 15, but he's probably going to say, "I would love to, but I can't say anything." Yeah. It's all up to the writers.
Who's ready for the con? We are. We've been ready. We do this. We're trained professionals at this point. We know exactly what we're doing at all times. Don't shake your head. You know that's not true.
Yeah, I've got to do some flights.
You got to work some flights. I now have 22 volunteer applications to sort through. If you have submitted a volunteer application, review is going to start in July. July started today. So I'm going to be getting through that process. I have my assistant McKenna is going to be helping me with that. And Chrissy Harding will be helping McKenna.
33.
We have 33 applications. Oh, that is amazing. The number I'm looking for is at least 60, so that we have a good amount of folks throughout the con. Now, I'm going to boast this right now. This is going to be one of the best shows ever. We are so ready for it. We have most of our bills paid already. Don't we? We have just about everything squared and ready to go. It's just going to be wonderful. This is going to be so cool.
I don't have my Coke Zero bills paid or my Oreos.
Well, that's true. Or the vodka soaked gummy bears. Ooh. Those are popular from the early years. Ooh. Right? Yeah. But guys, we've hit a stride, and we're so excited to be able to share that with you. There's so many cool things going on. None of the panel rooms will be indoors this year. The tent experiment was very successful, so we're going to be doing more outdoors in the outdoor spaces. So panel room 1 is going to be a huge tent, and then panel rooms 2 and 3 will be out there flanking it. That's going to give us an opportunity to make the fire marshal happy. We're going to be using more of the space in the building and more of the campus overall. So that's going to be a thing, and that means more people.
Friday nights
programming.
Instead of the cosplay dating game, it is cosplay. Let's make a deal.
Cosplay. Oh, this what you, Melanie, been working on?
Not me, but
Melanie's been working on that?
And Dan or
that
whatever.
Like
let's
fun.
Make a deal because
that sounds like fun.
Because the show, that TV show, everyone's in costume.
Yeah.
So they're coming up with prizes for everybody for and let's make a deal.
And I have there are local celebrity names that are going to be sitting at the D&D table that I'm dungeon mastering.
It's looking like right now, as of like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be there Friday night.
Oh, I know you're going to be doing the airport run.
So now I know my first airport run is about 8:45 that I know of.
Yeah.
But I don't even know.
You're going to be spending most of your time driving around.
Yeah, back and forth.
Yeah.
So that and going to sit out in my car probably at Walmart and then come back to the airport and whatever. But so I'm going to be there.
No, there will be no Daleks there at the show this year. We, as much as we love our guys from Toronto that came down the early years, we're just not comfortable letting them loose on turf. I don't think it's going to be good for their machines, especially because the turf at the TSC kicks up those rubber particles, and we noticed those rubber particles ate a couple of electric wheelchairs in the like a couple of years ago. So I wouldn't want them to risk damaging their investments.
They would have to.
It's really tough. There's not a lot of places for them to go.
They'd have to be on the concrete, just rolling around.
Yeah, and it's really
They
that's
wouldn't
very
be able to get
limiting.
very far.
It's very limiting for them. So I don't think we're going to have them there as much as I would love to have them there.
Now, if somebody wants to do a cardboard foam cosplay of a Dalek that they
It's
can walk,
Not moving around as much.
that they can walk and
Right.
not rolling.
Yeah.
You know, they have those dancers that move their feet really, really quickly and like
Right.
very close.
Right.
And it looks like they're gliding, so they could do that. They
Yeah.
can watch a lot of YouTube videos
Yeah.
on how to walk fast, so it looks like you're gliding.
So that may be a thing, but I think we're still gonna have a TARDIS there at least.
Yes.
Experience Entertainment's gonna bring
Yes.
that TARDIS, I believe.
Yeah.
That's a
Well, of
thing.
course, because we have Captain Jack. So
Right.
of course we usually try to bring in a prop similar to.
I forgot who brought Bessie that third year we were at the convention center.
That was.
It was an outside vendor.
It was the people from Ithaca, I believe.
Oh, right. Because they had the Fort
Wizarding
Anglia too.
World.
Yeah, Wizarding World, because they had the Fort Anglia from Harry Potter too. Can you scooch just a second? There's somebody who else.
Yeah,
wants to-
she was sound asleep for
most of it.
Yeah, she was totally passed out.
Hi, everybody. We love you. We miss you. So, this poor neglected. Can you tell this poor neglected animal?
Definitely
She's
neglected.
living a terrible life.
Are you neglected?
Are you
That's
neglected?
okay. This is she.
She was so happy to see you.
Here, yeah.
I'm going to put some Neosporin on that later.
Kiss it.
Yeah.
And then, well, that's
Don't
okay.
encourage her.
Do you see what she did to my foot earlier?
Yeah.
When she stepped on
Oh,
it?
you should see all the scars on my legs over the years.
Yes.
You know?
I don't know when the last time Daddy trimmed your
Elizabeth is here. She's here in time to see Juno.
Who cares about the Doctor Who
There you go.
conversation? She just wants to see Puppy. No,
That's
she
it.
would definitely be in for Doctor Who.
Right?
Uh,
This is not working. There we go. Jason can get his in. I don't
yeah,
hear
it's not like we're not
Yeah.
we're not looking to bring anything in. He was
Yeah.
just asking.
Yeah, just remembering that. But but give me that info anyway, just in case we want to give him a call for a future event. So I think that's pretty much everything. This is the longest Nerd World news ever. 42
because
minutes.
it was kind of like a podcast.
It was kind of, we haven't done that in such a long time. We really have not done a podcast in a very long
I know,
time.
but you said we would never do monkey business again
Without Billy.
Billy. So
I just have a hard time doing monkey business without
so
Billy.
I was talking with Ann about that on Friday. So either we have to come up with a
We'll
new
rebrand and do a new
rebrand and things like
but-
that, because that's now granted we're all like
That's great,
super,
Chris.
super busy.
If anybody wants to know my thoughts on Doctor Who finale, she has a podcast now. So Elizabeth has a podcast. You know what, Elizabeth? Can we volunteer ourselves to be on your cast?
Every so often.
Every so often we'll stop in, we'll talk Doctor Who and convention business. You can even, if we have any scoops, you can have them. Just saying. To sweeten the deal. These two people on the show.
Bessie is from Mark in Canada. Okay.
What's that?
Bessie was from Mark in Canada.
Oh, okay. The guy who brought us the Daleks.
Yes.
Right. Awesome.
Okay, but the Ford Anglia was from
Wizarding World in Ithaca. Okay. So we've been waiting for weeks for Doctor Who.
I know.
But
But
here's
we
the thing:
had
we got to give everybody a chance to see the whole thing. That's
And the season finale was June 21st.
yeah. So it wasn't
So
that long
we're
ago.
only 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks out.
Yeah, and since then,
A week and a half.
it's
week
been
and a
it's
day.
been a wild ride the past couple of weeks here. I'd love that, to be honest. We're on a break for a bit to give my editor a break because she also is editing podcast episodes for Temple of Geek, but we'll let you know. Absolutely, just give us a post. We'll come running. We love our Elizabeth, right?
I'm skipping.
Happy.
I'm
I don't
jumping.
skip. My knee does not allow me to skip anymore.
I don't think I can skip either.
So yes, as I intimated earlier this particular evening, I am officially, as of the 12th of June, I am a grandfather. My
And
eldest,
he's adorable.
my eldest gave birth to a healthy little baby boy, and so as soon as I'm allowed to post pictures, I will, because I'm a grandfather now and I'm going to be posting pictures all the time. But my daughter's being like, just casual, Dad. We just got to be chill about this right now, and I'm having a hard time.
Well, the thing is,
I'm having a hard
it's
time
totally
with
up to her to
It
keep
is.
them off of social media.
It is completely up to her, and I got to respect that need for privacy.
Absolutely, because
'Cause the
people
world is-
are
The
horrible.
world is just stupid these days. So I totally respect my daughter's need for privacy on that one. But I am going to at least boast of the fact that I'm a grandfather, because I'm a proud grandfather. I am
Papa Chris.
Papa, yeah, absolutely. It was so funny when Jules first told us that she was expecting, and my ex-wife and I were talking about it, like, well, what are you going to be called? What are you going to be called? And I thought about it. I think I made the decision in a split second, but I took a moment to kind of talk about it. My maternal grandfather was the grandparent I grew up with. My mom's parents were with me all my life for the most part. My dad's parents, my grandmother had passed away. I think I was not even a year old. And then my dad's dad passed away. I was in early high school. So I never really, he was there. He was a great presence, but they never made an impact on me. But my mom's mom and dad, oh my God, those were like the salt of the earth, the best people on the planet. You know, everybody has their grandparents, their heroes, and those were mine. And my grandfather was Papa. So I'm like, you know, like the popes of old, when a pope says, I'm going to be named after this, to kind of give you that idea of the kind of person they want to be. That was my whole impetus for this. I'm going to call myself Papa. And if I'm half the man my grandfather was to me, this kid will be in good shape. So that's what we went with.
That's what my kids call my dad.
Yeah,
Papa.
Papa. I mean,
so now I call him Papa.
You know,
it's not Dad.
That's true.
It's like
That's true.
I'm like, oh, Nana and Papa are coming. Instead of I'm saying, oh, Mom and Dad. Anytime we're talking, I'm like, yeah, Nana and Papa are here.
My kids call my dad Papa Tom, right? And I call him Papa Tom. or he called me the other night, and he always puts me on speakerphone because he doesn't want to hold the damn thing to his ear. And so, you know, Papa Tom. But the other night he called me out of the blue, and I just went, Papa Tamale. And I thought his partner, Sherry, was just going to crack. She just started pissing me. She was laughing in the background. I could hear, you know, so that's a thing. But he's healthy. Everything is good. Now for perspective, when I was born 28 years ago, more than a half a century ago, I was 8 pounds even and 22 and a half inches tall. Right. And my son was 8 pounds, 12 ounces, 22 and 3/4 inches tall. So we thought he was going to take a run at the title because he was bigger than me and he was bigger than me in a lot of his early benchmarks, right? So I thought he was going to take a run at the title, but pardon the pun, but my son fell short. I'm still the tallest person in the family.
Only by about this.
Yes. Now this one, 7 pounds 2 ounces, so a little bit lighter, 23 inches tall. And the one picture I have of him, his feet are like paddles. So I'm like, oh, this kid's going to
have to grow into his feet.
He's going to have to grow into his feet, which means he's going to take a run at the title. He's coming for Papa.
He is definitely coming for Papa.
He's going to go for it. He's going to be there. He's going to after Papa. I'm sure of it, and I will love it. Now, the advantage that this child has that my son did not, my son was fully grown when I was still relatively in my prime. When this child is hitting his 20s, I'll be in my 70s at that point.
And a little more hunched over.
And I'll probably be a little more hunched over. The spine will start to compress. I'll probably come down from 6'5". I'll probably be about 6'2", 6'3" at that point. I can only hope because I'm tired of hitting my head on everything. You know.
Ooh, you wouldn't have wanted to go through one of the barns yesterday at
No.
Springdale Farm.
Yeah.
And Dan's like, ooh, well, Dan went like this and he could touch the ceiling.
My job as a building inspector, I'm bent over at 90 degrees regularly in basements. It's tough.
Yeah.
But I'm expecting that I will be looking my grandson in the face fairly quickly.
About 16 years.
I'm thinking about 15, 16 years from now, or actually sooner, because I'm expecting in my 60s and early 70s, I might come down a little bit. So we're gonna catch each other doing this. So I'm expecting to be looking him in the eye when he's 14, 15, 16 years old. I'll keep you guys posted on that one down the road.
Well, yeah. I mean,
if I'm still broadcasting in my old age.
Like, I don't know how tall my parents were, but Tyler was 7'15" and 19 inches long or so.
Yeah.
Riker was 8'13",
right,
21 inches long. So he had Tyler by 2 inches, and at every checkup, at every checkup for Riker, he's been taller than Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's hot on Tyler's heels now because Tyler's not growing anymore.
Right.
Riker's only 15, so
he's got some time.
Riker's got at least about 3 years or so, and he is like 5'9.5", 5'10".
Yeah.
And Tyler, I think, is just topping out at 6 foot, maybe 6'1".
Andy, I have an advantage that others before me have not. I know licensed massage therapists and chiropractors, and I'm planning on making use of them over the years because of issues. So I may not be as compressed as I'm afraid of.
Oh, I am.
So
I have a compression.
Yes, well, you have a compression fracture.
Yeah.
That's only one vertebrae, though.
It's only one vertebrae,
and it's healing.
But it's never going to grow back up.
That's fine, but we can at least make sure that the rest of you is healthy. young
But
lady.
they did say that they could do a procedure to ensure that it doesn't continue to wedge,
Right.
where it's an outpatient procedure where they inject this like cement stuff into the vertebrae to have it go boink.
Right.
So and it's an outpatient. So
for those of you who are
know.
still here 50 minutes later and are not bored with Tanya and I chattering about this, that, and the other thing, let me just ask you guys, should we put our podcast back together again? Is this the kind of like focused material that you really would like to be able to join us on?
We need Star Trek medicine.
We need Star Trek medicine, yeah. Still feels like Civil War medicine from time to time. But yeah, let us know. And you know, I can't guarantee we're going to jump right on it. But if you're curious to see what the two of us are like when we have friends and microphones and recording stuff, we'll take another crack at it. Maybe we can get started on something after this year's convention. You know, give ourselves some time to plan. Maybe we can
Everyone's like, hell yeah, do it. Do it. We love you guys.
For those of you who have not listened to our podcasting in the past, go to our link tree. As a matter of fact, give me a second here. I can find that. Where is it? I'm going to put a graphic up in a moment. Right here. Go to our link tree and you will find our entire podcast network. You will find all 200 plus episodes of Monkey Business. You will find James Irish and Chrissy Harding and their buddy Pemmy with their podcast. You'll find Dan and Chris Save the World, which I don't think we really ever successfully did that, but we just, you know, the world gets by once in a while without us. But you never know. You never know when these things happen. So yeah, looks like getting some positive feedback on that. So we might be back in business this fall.
I think because we were and then we lost Billy to work.
Yeah.
Not that we lost Billy. Because God no.
Yeah.
No, but we lost Billy to his wacky hours and
his wacky, work hours.
So
And we were burning out as it was after 200 episodes over 6 years, 5-6 years, something like that. And to have Billy have to back off through no fault of his own, and it just didn't feel right to keep doing it without him.
Right.
Because he was such an integral part. He was so, he is so overly humble. He would be like, oh, come on, no.
Yeah.
Right. But it was just, we tried doing an episode or two without him, and it didn't feel right.
The same feel.
It didn't feel right.
And
he's such a wonderful friend. He's such a good friend.
I have not worn my Monkey Business t-shirt in years.
I know.
Because it's got you, me, and Billy on it. And maybe I'll wear it weekend of the con type thing.
Right.
Just for some nostalgia aspect. But
and we had some fun. We interviewed some people. We had a lot of great interviews. I was able to interview Jeremy Crawford from Wizards of the Coast. We interviewed Hillywood, the two sisters who do all the YouTube videos. I interviewed what was his name? The author, the LGBTQ author, Mark Oshira or Hera. I can't remember his name anymore.
Go back and find the episode.
Yeah, he was so much fun. We had some really fun interviews, and we brought guests in to the studio. We had such a great time with that. So yeah, it's out there. It's on our link tree. So feel free to
Tony like left and right.
Oh, see, that's where the thing. That's where it began.
Mm-hmm. So for those that are not in the know, that one of our interns at the time,
who's now a staffer,
got fired on a regular basis,
at least once an episode.
And he's like, okay,
and then I would rehire him because he was too much fun to be around.
Yeah. So
so that's where the legend of Tony Bacchetta getting fired on a regular basis goes on.
And then we did like movie reviews.
We did our top 10. We did our movie reviews, our top 10 this, our top 10 that. It's all out there. Slams. Yeah. Oh God, the poetry slam was a lot of fun. We did a whole thing on folk music. That was a lot of fun too.
We asked questions of each other.
Yes. Like we interviewed each other.
Get to know so and so. Get to know so and so. That type of thing.
Kind of like killed Kenny every episode. Yeah, Jason. That was our you killed Kenny moment. Tony, you're fired.
Okay.
He was so upbeat about it
like,
right from the beginning. So I remember the very first time, and I think that's what led it to being such a great running gag. Is the very first time I did it, he brightened up, went, okay, and just shrugged it off, and then he kept working. like,
and it's Zach and
we had Zach and Rob for a long time.
Uh-huh.
We had Sarah come in and join us.
was it Rosencrantz and Guildenstern?
It was well, the names from Shakespeare are Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, but we called them Rosenstern and Guildenkrantz.
Oh.
But they were our Statler and Waldorf, the old men heckling from the balcony type of thing. But they had such great additions to the party too. Kind of like booking Luke Skywalker. Yes, that's a great running gag too. But yeah, I mean, it was time for us to put monkey business to bed. But maybe, we'll take a look at it, revisit that in the fall. Maybe something new. Something new, maybe. And you will be an input on that. Because maybe just maybe, we'll just morph monkey business or Nerd World News. Monday nights, we'll just get together and do regular lives on Monday nights. Sit here for half an hour, 45 minutes, talk about something in particular.
And we have running commentary.
I think that is what makes it much more interesting, because previously it was just 3 or 4 or 5 or sometimes 7 of us in a studio, and then they got to listen to it and give feedback down the road. But the feedback wasn't, we'd get it 2 weeks later almost sometimes. But now we're here, we're live, and they're interacting, and we can talk to them, and they can put their 2 cents in on what we're talking about. We can respond to them. That might be a thing. Don't hold anything to us. We're not putting it in cement yet, but something is going to happen after the convention this year, and she and I will be behind. She and I will be
not the one that was just.
I'm not pointing at my Lego set over here. That's not the she I'm talking about. It's this one here.
I don't know, but that was one of your favorites.
Though. That is my favorite. The Jedi Cruiser, because it was a discontinued. It was so hard to find, and you gave that to me, and I'm totally appreciative. It's one of my favorite sets.
It was a birthday present.
Yes, it was. And then I bought the reissue of the Galaxy Explorer. One of these days, I'm going to dig through all my Legos and put together the old one.
Oh, we are going to have a little Lego area at the con.
Yes.
Where kids and adults or whatever can actually build and be creative and things like that. Only caveat, the Legos don't go home with you because they have to come back here.
Yes, they're mine, damn it. All right, friends. All right, guys, thank you for sticking with us. That was a lot of fun. This is the longest Nerd World News in the history of Nerd World News in all years. Because it turned into an absolute podcast.
A live cast?
A live cast. So that's kind of cool. We should probably I should finally put together the BD1 Lego set I bought, to be honest. Yes, Elizabeth. Yes, you should. And then you should take pictures and post them on social media so we can enjoy your build. All right, my friends. You guys, we'll be back again next week. We'll figure something out along the way, as we always do. You have a great week. Have a safe week. And we will talk to you again next week. I gotta go now. Bye-bye.